Lawyers representing Janel Grant have filed a petition in Connecticut court. Grant's attorney submitted a pre-action discovery petition against Peak Wellness Incorporated and the company's owner and CEO, Dr. Carolyn Kolker. The petition is seeking medical records related to Grant's treatment at the clinic as it concerns her sex trafficking lawsuit against WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. Janel Grant alleges that Vince McMahon arranged for her to be seen at the clinic and that she received pills and IV treatments from Kolker, but was never informed about the substances she was given. Grant's attorneys are seeking to receive records of the following from Dr. Kolker and Peak Wellness Incorporated, including plaintiff's electronic medical records, including all associated metadata, defendant's record-keeping and billing procedures, payment records relating to Ms. Grant, defendant's payments arrangements with Vince McMahon and/or the WWE, the purpose of Ms. Grant's prescribed treatments, the substance of Ms. Grant's prescribed treatments, any communications between Dr. Kolker and McMahon relating to Ms. Grant, and Dr. Kolker's involvement in recommending Mrs. Grant's attorney for negotiation of the purported non-disclosure agreement. Other key parts of the petition read, in or about November 2019, McMahon arranged that Ms. Grant see Dr. Kolker to treat her fatigue and insomnia. At McMahon's direction, Ms. Grant began seeing Dr. Kolker regularly. From November 22, 2019 through April 15, 2022, Ms. Grant saw Dr. Kolker or another practitioner at Peak Wellness on at least 60 occasions. On multiple visits, Dr. Kolker prescribed Ms. Grant with adrenal trace or adrenal supplement trace provided by his office and instructed her to take the unmarked pills daily. Dr. Kolker did not explain the substances, dosages, or purpose of the pills to Ms. Grant beyond purportedly addressing her symptoms of fatigue. When Ms. Grant asked Dr. Kolker about the substance of the supplement trace and specifically which substances caused her to experience nausea, he responded with pushback about trust, including, "If you don't trust me, we have bigger problems." Dr. Kolker also prescribed weekly IV infusions and similarly did not disclose the substance of the infusions to Ms. Grant, other than a generalized description in a drip lounge menu. These treatments caused Ms. Grant to feel unwell during the IV sessions, which Dr. Kolker attributed to individual tolerance. The information that Ms. Grant has requested is material and necessary to determine whether defendants were civil conspirators in her pending claims against McMahon and the WWE. Grant's lawsuit against WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis is currently paused, per a request from the Department of Justice, as they continue a federal investigation into Vince McMahon. Switching gears into some other pro wrestling news, Rhea Ripley has thrown out her challenge for SummerSlam, as Dominic Mysterio attempted to reconcile with Rhea at the start of Monday's Raw. Liv Morgan interrupted her and said at first she didn't see what Ripley saw in Dominic, but then got to spend time with him and it all became real to her. Rhea Ripley said she waited 3 months for this and set up the challenge for SummerSlam on August 3rd. Liv Morgan said she always knew the endgame would be this, so she won't run, but she isn't the same Liv Morgan and accepted Rhea Ripley's challenge, saying she hoped Dominic would be there too. A show-long storyline had Dominic attempt to reconcile with Rhea Ripley, mostly to no avail until he got a match against Jey Uso, saying that Jey was talking about Rhea. Liv Morgan interfered during the match and put Dominic in another compromising position, going for a kiss when Rhea came out, causing Liv to bail through the crowd. Rhea Ripley told him backstage that she doesn't belong to anyone, but Dominic belongs to her. Rhea has been out of action for 3 months after suffering an injury during a backstage angle with Liv Morgan, causing her to vacate the women's world title. She made her return on last week's Raw, interrupting Dominic and Liv Morgan as they were celebrating their mixed tag team win in the ring. In the wake of Rhea's absence, Liv Morgan has been attempting to seduce Dominic as part of her revenge tour against Rhea, who had injured Liv Morgan last year. On to our next story. Ric Flair says he wouldn't have a problem with John Cena breaking his world title record. WWE recognizes Ric Flair and John Cena as being tied for the record with 16 World Championship reigns each. With Cena set to retire from in-ring competition in 2025, some fans have brought up that they'd like to see him take sole possession of the record and have one final run as champion. Ric Flair told Busted Open Radio on Monday that while the record is something he likes having because of its sentimentality, he'd have no problem if John Cena broke it. Ideally, Flair would like to remain tied with John Cena until Charlotte Flair surpasses both of them. However, given that Paul Triple H Levesque is such a Ric Flair fan, Busted Open Radio asked Flair if he thinks that Triple H would be hesitant to book Cena breaking the record. To which Flair responded, "I personally kind of agree with you. I don't think he wants to pull the trigger on it." Flair said he just loves wrestling and would give his blessing to have the record broken. He named Randy Orton as someone else who would be deserving of it. Cena's retirement tour will last from January through December 2025. The amount of dates he plans on working is in the mid-30s to 40s. Though 16 is the number that's commonly recognized, Ric Flair has had more world title reigns than that. Dave Meltzer notes that Ric Flair's actual number of reigns is at least 18. And that's a wrap for this episode of The Latest. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.